Math 6, Quarter 2, Week 2, Milk Base. Let's learn about concept of ratio and proportion and different types of proportion. Hello kids, it's me, Teacher Frel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and hit the notification bell for the latest video. You can also follow my Facebook page, Teacher Frel TV. For today's lesson in Math 6, we will discuss about concept of ratio and proportion and different types of proportion. For most essential learning competencies, defines and illustrates the meaning of ratio and proportion using concrete or pictorial models. When two ratios are equal, they form a proportion. Proportion is a statement of equality between two ratios. There are two terms in the proportion. The first and the last term are called extremes, while the second and the third term are called means. After going through this lesson, you are expected to illustrate and understand the concept of ratio and proportion. Look at the example below. In the proportion, the cross products of equal ratios are equal. If A is to B equals C is to D, then A and D is equals to B and C. In column form, it is A is to D equals B is to C. The first and last term, which is A and C, are called extremes, and the second and the third term, or D and B, are called means. Thus, the product of the means is equal to the product of the extremes. Let's study example number 1. Tell whether the ratios form a proportion. Solution: 3:4, 6:8. Form cross products. 3 and 8 and 4 and 6. Now multiply. 3 times 8 equals 24. 4 times 6 equals 24. The two ratios are proportion since they are equal. Let's study example number 2. Find the value of x. 2:4 equals 3:x. Multiply the first and the last term. 2 times x equals, multiply the second and the third term. 4 times 3. 2 times x equals 2x, and 4 times 3 equals 12. Now divide them by 2. 2x divided by 2 equals x, and 12 divided by 2 equals 6. Therefore, the value of x is 6. Now check. 2:4 equals 3:x, or 2:4 equals 3:6. In fraction form, it is 2:4 equals 3:6. Now, let's do the cross product. 2 times 6 equals 12. 4 times 3 equals 12. So, therefore, the product of the means is equal to the product of the extremes. There are three types of proportion: direct proportion, inverse proportion, and partitive proportion. For example number 3, let's study the direct proportion. Let's read the problem. There are 120 families in the evacuation center consume 1,500 kilos or kilograms of donated rice for 3 weeks. If there were only 1,000 kilos of NFA rice, how long will the families consume this volume of rice? From the given situation above, you can see that the more kilos of rice there is, the longer it will last for 120 families. This situation is example of direct proportion. Thus we have number of kilos of rice is to number of weeks. The number of kilos of rice is 1,500 and the number of weeks is 3. 1,500 is to 3 equals number of kilos of rice is to number of weeks. Number of kilos of rice 1,000, number of weeks is to n. We will find the n. Now let's use the cross product. 1,500 times n equals 1,500n. And 3 times 1,000 equals 3,000. Now, divide them by 1,500. 1,500n divided by 1,500 equals n. Then 3,000 divided by 1,500 equals 2. So the value of n is 2. Therefore, there are 1,000 kilos of rice consumed in 2 weeks. Now let's study example number 4. Inverse proportion. Let's read the problem. It takes Robin 20 minutes to ride his bicycle at 20 km per hour from home to grocery store. To shorten his travel time to 16 minutes for the same distance, how fast should he cycle? Let the desired speed be x km per hour. Speed km per hour, 20 km per hour, x km per hour. The time in minutes, which is 20 minutes and 16 minutes. The faster the bicycle is driven, the less time is required to reach the destination. So, this is an inverse proportion. Speed needed to shorten travel time to 16 minutes. X km per hour. Time taken when the speed is 20 km per hour. So, x km per hour is to 20. Speed needed to reach a travel time of 20 minutes. 20 minutes. And time taken when the speed is x km per hour. 16 minutes. So, 20 is to 16. Get the cross products. X km per hour times 16 equals 16x. And 20 times 20 equals 400. Divide both sides by 16. 16x divided by 16 equals x. And 400 divided by 16 equals 25. Therefore, the value of x is 25. The answer is Robin should cycle at 25 km per hour. For example number 5 is a partitive proportion. Let us read the problem. A glass of jar has 64 chocolates. Pepe, Dave, and Ray will share the chocolates in the ratio 1:1:2. How many chocolates will each one of them get? Let's understand the problem. Letter A, what is asked in the problem? The number of chocolates that each will get. Letter B, what are the given facts? The given facts are 64 chocolates. Chocolates will be shared in the ratio of 1:1:2. So now, plan the problem. The strategy is write a partitive proportion to solve the problem. Let's solve. Let n be the number of chocolates each of them will get. Let 2n be the number of chocolates one of them with 2 parts will get. Write the ratio 1:1:2 as n:2n:2n. Adding the numbers. 1 plus 1 plus 2 equals 4. Then n plus n plus 2n equals 64, which is the 64 chocolates. 4n equals 64. The value of n is 16. Since 2n equals 2 times 16 equals 32, then n:2n:2n is equals to 16:16:32. Let's answer. Pepe and Dave will both have 16 chocolates each, while Ray will have 32 chocolates. Let's check. Add all the chocolates received by Pepe, Dave, and Ray. Pepe receives 16 chocolates plus Dave receives 16 chocolates plus Ray receives 32 chocolates equals 64 chocolates. So the answer is 64 is equals to 64. And now let us do learning task 1. Solve and determine whether each is a proportion or not. Write yes or no on your notebook. 2:3 and 4:6. In fraction form, 2:3 and 4:6. Get the cross products. 2 times 6 equals 12. 3 times 4 equals 12. So what do you think? Is it proportion or not? Very good. The answer is yes, proportion. Number 2. 6:7 and 24:28. In fraction form, 6:7 and 24:28. Get the cross products. 6 times 28 equals 168. 7 times 24 equals 168. Is it proportion or not? Very good. The answer is yes, it is proportion. Number 3. 2:5 and 4:12. In fraction form, 2:5 and 4:12. Get the cross products. 2 times 12 equals 24. And 5 times 4 equals 20. Is it proportion or not? Very good. The answer is no. It is not proportion. Number 4. 28:42 and 2:3. In fraction form, 28:42 and 2:3. Get the cross products. 28 times 3 equals 84. 42 times 2 equals 84. Is it proportion or not? Very good. The answer is yes. Number 5. 15:20 and 5:6. In fraction form, 15:20 and 5:6. Cross product. 15 times 6 equals 90. And 20 times 5 equals 100. Is it proportion or not? Very good. The answer is no. It is not proportion. Now let's proceed to learning task 2. Solve each proportion. Write your answer in your notebook. Number 1. 5:12 equals 35:n. In fraction form, 5:12 equals 35:n. Get the cross products. 5 times n equals 5n. 12 times 35 equals 420. Divide both of them by 5. 5n divided by 5 equals n. And 420 divided by 5 equals 84. So therefore, the value of n is 84. Number 2. n:52 equals 180:120. n times 120 equals 120n. 52 times 180 equals 9,360. Divide both of them by 120. 120n times 120 equals n. 9,360 divided by 120 equals 78. Therefore, the value of n is 78. Number 3. 18:n equals 21:28. 18 times 28 equals 504. n times 21 equals 21n. Divide them by 21. 504 divided by 21 equals 24. 21n divided by 21 equals n. Therefore, the value of n is 24. Number 4. n:4 equals 24:6. n times 6 equals 6n. 4 times 24 equals 96. Divide them by 6. 6n divided by 6 equals n. 96 divided by 6 equals 16. Therefore, the value of n is 16. And number 5, 10 is to 16 equals n is to 56. 10 times 56 equals 560. 16 times n equals 16n. Divide them by 16. 560 divided by 16 equals 35. 16n divided by 16 equals n. Therefore, the value of n is 35. And for learning task 3, identify the type of proportion that the following problems illustrate. Then solve the problems in a piece of paper. Number 1. A car is able to travel 210 km in 3 hours. How far can it travel in 5 hours? So this problem is a direct proportion. Let's solve. 210 km per hour is to 3 hours equals n kilometer is to 5 hours. The cross product is 210 km times 5 hours equals 1,050. And 3 hours times n kilometer equals 3n. Divide them by 3. 1,050 divided by 3 equals 350 km. And 3n divided by 3 equals n. Therefore, the value of n is 350 km. He can travel 350 km in 5 hours. Number 2. 5 people can finish painting a wall in 5 hours. If only 2 people are available, how many hours do they have to work to finish the same job? This is an inverse proportion. So 5 people is to 5 hours equals 2 people is to n hours. So because this is an inverse proportion, multiply 5 people times 5 hours equals 25. And 2 people times n hours equals 2n. Divide them by 2. 25 divided by 2 equals 12.5 hours. 2n divided by 2 equals n. Therefore, the value of n is 12.5 hours. So they have to work 12.5 hours. Number 3. At 65 km per hour, Alfred can reach home in 50 minutes. At what speed should he drive his car so that he can reach home 10 minutes earlier? This is a direct proportion. First, let's subtract 50, which is 50 minutes, minus 10, which is 10 minutes, equals 40. 65 km per hour is to 50 minutes, equals n km per hour is to 40 minutes. 65 times 40 equals 2,600. And 50 times n equals 50n. Divide them by 50. 2,600 divided by 50 equals 52 km per hour. 50n divided by 50 equals n. Therefore, the value of n is 52 km per hour. So, he should drive his car 52 km per hour to reach home 10 minutes earlier. Number 4. A land area was divided among the 3 heirs in the ratio of 5:2:4. If the largest share was 20 hectares of land, what is the total area of the land? This is a partitive proportion. 5:2:4, which is the land area divided by the 3 heirs. Let's add 5 plus 2 plus 4 equals 11. So 5, which is the largest land area among the 3 heirs. 5:20 hectares of land equals 11, which is the total land area, is to n. So we will find n. 5 times n equals 5n. 20 times 11 equals 220. Now divide them by 5. 5n divided by 5 equals n. 220 divided by 5 equals 44. So therefore, the value of n is 44. the total area of the land is 44 hectares. And for number 5, a certain amount of money is divided among Rio, Kim, and Leo in the ratio 5:7:3. If Leo gets 24,000 pesos, how much is the total amount? This is a partitive proportion. Rio, Kim, and Leo. So Rio 5, Kim 7, and Leo 3. 5:7:3. Or 5 plus 7 plus 3 equals 15. So 3 is for Leo, which is 24,000 pesos equals 15, the total amount of money. Now we will find N. 3 times N equals 3N. 24,000 times 15 equals 360,000. Divide them by 3. 3N divided by 3 equals N. 360,000 divided by 3 equals 120,000 pesos. Therefore, the value of N is 120,000 pesos. The total amount is 120,000 pesos. So kids, do you understand our lesson for today? Wow! Good job! Kids, I hope you learn a lot from this lesson. Until our next topic, bye-bye kids! Thanks for watching!